Judging by election results across the country last night, this could be a very tough fall for Republicans. The incumbent party typically gets hurt in the first midterm, almost always, and this year could be worse than usual for a bunch of different reasons. But one of those reasons may be that Republicans are running on entirely the wrong issues. Your average Republican office holder seems to believe that most Americans love mass immigration. They say that all the time. Turns out it's not true. Big Republican donors love mass immigration, so do professional Democrats. It increases the size of their party. But normal people are very skeptical of it, actually. Consider a new CBS YouGov poll. It's amazing. Turns out far more Americans think immigration is making their communities worse, not better. And it's not just those dreaded white people Democrats are always attacking who think that. 45% of African Americans say immigration is hurting them. Only 17% say it's helping. How about Hispanics? Where are they on this? Republican consultants tell you, and they tell their candidates, never to say a negative word about immigration for fear of alienating Hispanic voters, who are supposedly very sensitive on the subject. Turns out that's idiotic and patronizing. Actually, 44% of Hispanic voters say immigration is hurting their communities. Just 28% say it's improving things. The numbers could not be clearer. Immigration is a powerful issue for Americans of all kinds, and it's an issue that Republicans can win on if only they were brave enough to listen to voters. But they're not. After a year and a half of total control of Congress, no wall is being built, sanctuary cities remain well funded, E-Verify is not enacted, chain migration is alive and well. Nothing is happening. And now the media are telling you it's immoral somehow to separate illegal immigrant parents from their children. Lots of Republicans agree with this, but wait. Americans who get arrested are separated from their children. American citizens should be treated more harshly than illegal aliens? How is that? Here's the Attorney General on the subject. Watch this.
We believe every person that enters the country illegally like that should be prosecuted, and you can't be given immunity to people who bring children with them recklessly and improperly and illegally. We don't want to do this at all. If people don't want to be separated from their children, they should not bring them with them.
So you hear Jeff Sessions criticized a lot for a bunch of different things, but when you come right down to it on this issue, he's basically the only person in Washington still arguing that borders and laws matter. Maybe the rest of his party will wake up and realize they do. Lou Dobbs hosts Lou Dobbs Tonight on Fox Business, and he joins us tonight. Lou, it's great to see you. You've thought about this issue more deeply than almost anybody I know. Does it surprise you that no one has paused to ask, well, wait a second, if it's wrong for illegal aliens to be separated from their kids when they commit a crime, why is it not wrong for American citizens to be separated from their kids when they commit a crime?
Because there are protected groups in the United States, but when it comes to illegal immigrants, they are a preferred group. It is so because the establishment, the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, U.S. multinationals want cheaper labor. They want open borders. They want to, quote unquote, harmonize those borders. You don't hear much about the North American Union anymore. But under George Bush and through most of the Obama administration, the North American Union, that is, bringing Canada and Mexico together with the United States, was their ultimate goal. Yes. They've had to back off because of the numbers that you just showed in that poll, because the reality is Americans understand what's happening. Whatever the race, whatever the sex, whatever the socioeconomic dicing you want to do with the numbers, Americans know when they're being lied to, and they can feel the reality. And the reality is that we don't have borders because we, in the last month, just returned to the highest levels of illegal immigration across our southern border.
What's so interesting when you look at these numbers is that Democrats will tell you, and the media tells you, and a lot of Republicans tell you, that people don't like immigration because they're racist, because they're bigots.
Right.
When you look at the numbers, less than 20% of African Americans say immigration has made their communities better. They're not for it. Hispanic Americans, same thing. So it's not really about bigotry, actually, because this cuts across races.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, the entire left wing and establishment argument collapses if people look at the reality. The reality is that all of those ethnocentric interest groups and activist groups are basically spewing propaganda. And it's all been picked up by the national left-wing media, supported by the establishment and corporate America, to obviously the detriment of working men and women, particularly at the lowest paying levels, lowest skilled levels, lowest education levels in this country. Because the people crossing that border, as the president has made clear throughout, are not coming across on the basis of merit. They're coming across on the basis of Mexican government policy, which insists that they be transferred to the United States,
exactly.
The poor, the least advantaged amongst their society.
That is, you know, you've been saying this for 20 years, and I remember vividly when we worked at another network, and you said things like that, and people laughed at you, and it turned out you were right. You were completely right. I mean, it must frustrate you.
Well, they still laugh a little bit, I hope, because we should have a sense of humor about the reality that is American politics. We just elected a president in 2016 who was talking about each of these issues, and the idiot establishment are telling the rhinos in the Republican Party they should run on tax cuts instead of on trade, on jobs, on markets that are improving, and the issue of illegal immigration.
That's right.
And
That's
border
exactly
security.
Right. Lou Dobbs, thank you for that. It's great to see you.
Great to be with you. Thanks.